I got mail, I got mail, I got something in the mail. Welcome back to Growing Up Punk, the podcast and YouTube channel where we talk about punk rock and all of its friends. If you couldn't tell by my little song, I got something in the mail. Something I was pretty excited about. And this is actually the third time I've shot this video, so I'm giving up on all the funny little things I was going to do. It's the new Slick Shoes record, which as you can tell, I also got a t-shirt and I just smacked the record on the desk here. Yeah, Rotation and Frequency, it's out, it's here, it's exciting, and it's good. So, as I just mentioned, I ordered the vinyl. So let's take a look at it, shall we? First and foremost, artwork, cover art. I actually think this is one of Slick Shoes' best looking records as far as cover art is concerned. It's pretty basic, obviously, just a photo, black and white photo. But I just think it looks good. It looks like it's well put together. So I fully support that. Secondly, let's look at what came in the record. It's not a super in-depth sort of release. It's pretty basic. It's got some things, though. It does have an insert, which includes this photo, which I believe is the photo that they were using on some of the YouTube visualizers for this record. I could be wrong that it's this specific photo, but I'm pretty sure it is. I think that's like a UFO up there. Can't guarantee that, though. Can't promise. And on the other side, we got a lyric sheet, which I got to say is pretty great because now I can finally understand what Ryan is saying. It's actually not true because he sounds clear and fantastic on this record. I don't need the lyrics, but lyric sheets are nice. That is one of the things I definitely miss about being in the digital streaming world is lyric sheets and artwork, really. And finally, let's take a look at which variant I got of this first pressing. I went with the one that made a lot of sense. The Propeller variant. As you can see, side A, black on red, or I should say red on black. Side B, there's the black on red. I think it looks great. The only like downside and little nitpick I have is that I wish they maybe had to, I guess you could have spaced the propellers a little bit different, because when you spin it at 33, obviously a propeller spins, and when you're playing your record, it spins. But it's not fast enough to make it look kind of... I think it would be cool if they made it so it actually looked like it was blurring. I don't know how you do that, though. That's just me being a goof. I guess you could spin it at 45 and then listen to them be chipmunks. Or if your record player does 78, you could listen at that. But anyway, that's stupid. That's silly. Let's talk about the record itself, shall we? So when this record was announced, I was pumped. I was excited. Slick Shoes, one of my favorite bands from back in the day, from back in high school, was releasing a new record. You gotta be kidding me, right? Nope, not kidding. And when that first single came out, Whispers, I was sold. It was good. It was fantastic. I couldn't believe how good the guys sounded. Considering they had a single that came out a couple of years ago, that was, I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to say it was mediocre. It wasn't the greatest. But here we are. They've got this new record out. They had released 3 singles off of it leading up to it, and Whispers being that first one really set the bar high, got that momentum going, got the excitement in the air. It was, people were ready. They were talking about Slick Shoes. Like I said, they released another song and then another song, and now here we are. The record is out. So why don't we talk a little bit about some of those songs and some of those standout things on this record for me? A lot of the chatter that I was seeing on forums, Facebook groups, whatever, was about the guitar work on this record and just how good it is. And that is not a lie. I don't think it's an overstatement either. The guitar work on this record is so good that it's almost hard to pick, like moments here or there, except for this one particular song where I feel like the guitar work gets changed up a little bit. That song would be actually, funny enough, Moments. The guitar work on this, whereas, so everything else on the record is pretty standard fare for technical skate punk, pop punk sort of stuff that Slick Shoes is known for. And they do it really well. On Moments, I feel like they take a little bit of a left turn in how that guitar is played. It reminds me more of, let's say, a band like Tiny Moving Parts, or in that sort of vein, like that Midwest techie emo mathy sort of stuff. It's not mathy by any means, but just the way it kind of flows together feels more like how those songs and guitar riffs would be structured than maybe your more typical, as I mentioned, skate punk sort of stuff. And it really stands out for me as probably my favorite song on the record. Another song I do like is one of the singles they released early on, which was The Worlds Were Mine. Had to double check that one on the track listing here. Great song as well. I mean, all the songs really are fantastic. Those two are kind of my standouts. And looking at the vinyl itself, I think I want to say that side B is my favorite side. And maybe that's just because this is what happens often. I put the record on, listen to side A, it's over, flip it over, put on side B. By the time side B is done, I'm typically wrapping up what I'm doing, or not going to be sitting around for much longer. So instead of flipping it over and starting again, I just start side B again because I'm lazy like that. And so I've listened to side B more, which is this weird kind of thing now that I think about it with a record, because a lot of times, especially if I was listening on streaming, digital streaming, it would be side A or the first number of songs that I would know more. But in this case, it's side B, and that's fine, because it's got some of my favorite songs on it. Let's talk about what some people are saying about this record. I've seen people say it's Slick Shoe's best album. Do I think that? I don't know. You can make an argument. I do believe you can make an argument that it is Slick Shoe's best record. Here's the thing, though. I would put it up there with Burnout for me as being near the top of the list, but Rusty is my favorite Slick Shoes record, and it's hard for me to argue against Rusty being number one simply because I've had over 20 years with that album to digest it, to fall in love with it. Do I relate to some of the lyrics the same way I did when I was in high school? No, not anymore. So for sure, Rotation and Frequency has that benefit, that bonus in being it's written by adults. It's written by people living adult lives who are more similar to where I'm at now than, where I obviously was when I was in high school. Lyrically, sure, maybe there's more to grab onto for me. But musically and whatnot, Rusty is still my favorite. But I have no problems with people saying that this is their favorite. That is for sure. Part of me just thinks it maybe just needs more time. Maybe with more time it will become my favorite. Who knows? What about you? What do you think of the new Slick Shoes Rotation and Frequency? Is it your favorite Slick Shoes record? Maybe it is. Let me know. Before I get out of here, though, before I wrap this up, I should say all that YouTube cliche stuff. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We got plenty of videos coming out as well. You can listen to the podcast here. I mentioned at the beginning that we are a podcast. If you want to listen to the podcast, you could do it here on YouTube if that's your choice. I would also say go listen on your favorite podcast app. The experience is quite different than it is on YouTube. Also, in the description below, you can find links to our Patreon, to our merch store if you want to grab some t-shirts, to our website, growingpunkpod.com. Patreon, $5 a month. You get bonus episodes, you get bonus content. If you don't feel like supporting us in that way, that's cool too. Just tell your friends about us. Get more people to know about the show and about the podcast. But that will do it for me. Just let me say this. Bye-bye.